Okay, please listen. Today we are going to see polymorphism. Okay. So polymorphism, what is the definition? Anyone? Changing from one data type to another data type. So you can refer here. It looks like same, maybe acting in a different way, depends upon the situation. Okay, so generally we can define those things, but here the actual definition is it allows one interface is to be used for a general class of actions. The specific action is determined by the exact nature of that situation. Okay, so what does it mean? For example, we are having a method called add. Okay, there is a method called add. I am passing two integers. What it will do? It will perform the addition operation. Okay, suppose you are supplying some two strings. What it will do? It will do concatenation. In the case of integers, it will perform addition. In case of strings, it will perform concatenation. So this is a simple example for the term polymorphism. Okay, so based on the particular situation, the action will be changed. Okay, the method name will be the same. So depends upon the arguments we are passing or the type of arguments we are passing, the task may vary. Okay, this is, we call it as polymorphism. So in Java, here we are having two types of polymorphism. One is compile time and another one is during runtime. So compile time polymorphism we call it as overloading, and runtime polymorphism we call it as overriding. Okay, so today we are going to see only about overloading. We will see overriding at later time. Okay, so here inside the overloading we are having two types. One is constructor overloading and another one is method overloading. Okay, so from the definition of the term polymorphism and the terms constructor and method, we can easily identify what we are going to do. So in case of constructor overloading, we may have two or more constructors in our program, and based on the arguments or no arguments or number of arguments changes, the corresponding constructor will be called. Okay, so earlier programs we have seen, we will create one object with the default constructor and we will call, or we will create a object by calling a parameterized constructor. That itself we call it as constructor overloading. Okay, understood? We will see here. So see, here I am having two parameterized constructors, one with two arguments, name and department, and another with three arguments, roll number, name and department. Okay, so this is, we call it as constructor overloading, because the constructor name, the method name is same here, student. Okay, but the number of arguments is changed and the type also may vary. For example, here I am having two arguments, here I am having three arguments. Suppose if I am having two arguments constructors, and one constructor may have one integer and one string, and another constructor may have two strings or two integers. Like that also it may vary. So the name of the method is same, but the number of arguments and the type of arguments will vary. Okay, this is how the constructor overloading is achieved. Okay, any doubts? Then the same way method overloading. So here I am having a method, the name display details with no arguments. Similarly, I am having a method display details with one argument of type message. I may have another method with the same name display details with one argument of type integer, or two arguments with two string arguments, or one integer and one string argument, whatever it may be. Okay, va? But here the method signature, not the method name is same. Okay, va? Sometimes the return type also may vary. Here my return type is void with no arguments, and another method may be with return type integer and no arguments. So this is how we can create or we can achieve method overloading. The name of the method is same, but the return type and the number of arguments or the type of arguments may vary. That we call it as method overloading. In case of constructor overloading, there is no return type for constructors. Then we are modify with the number of arguments or the type of arguments. Based on that, we can achieve constructor overloading. Okay, va? Any doubts? Okay. So this is my main method. Here I am creating two objects, st1 and st2. So one with calling the constructor with two arguments, and another object we are using a constructor with three arguments. Okay. So here the corresponding constructor will be called, and here also the display details with no arguments and display details with one argument. Okay, va? So this we call it as the term polymorphism, and in specific it is constructor overloading, and here it is method overloading. So these are the things happen during compilation, compile time. That's why we call it as compile time polymorphism. Huh? It will work. I will tell, I will explain. So I will explain this in the code. So see, here I am creating a class student with three arguments, roll number, name and department, and creating one default constructor and two parameterized constructors with two arguments and three arguments. Okay, va? And two methods, display details. The display details method will display all the details about the particular object, the roll number, name and department. And another display details method, we are passing one message also. So it will print the message as well as the details of that particular object. For that I simply call the method which will use to display all the details about that particular object. Okay, va? So here we are achieving method overloading. Here we are achieving constructor overloading. Okay, va? And the same thing. So now if I am executing this line, student st1 equal to new student of Bala, comma BM, it will automatically go to which constructor? It will check among the three constructors which one will be matched with the number of arguments and the type, data type also. So here we are having two arguments of type strings. So it will check with the available constructors what are all the constructors with two arguments and both are in string data type. So it will call this constructor and it will assign these values, roll number, name and department. Okay, va? So similarly for the object st2, it will call the constructor with three arguments and a type of integer, string. So it will call this one. Okay, so integer, string. So based, why then calling this constructor, it will assign the values based on these statements. Okay, then object dot display details. We are having two display details method, but based on the number of arguments we are passing, it will correctly execute that particular method. Okay, so this display details will be executed, and here we are passing one arguments of type string, so this will call this method. Okay, so Java C driver overloading dot Java to compile, then to execute Java driver overloading. Okay, okay.